a Latino American, lived a criminal childhood and was put in jail for 15 years. He found the missing link in his life through the Quran.
أن تخرج من ضيق الظلماء إلى النور، أن تولد ثانية والماضي مغفور، لحظة أن تشعر بالله في قلبك يقذف بهدى، هذا ما لا يدركه وصف وشعور. يا الله إني ناديتك وسعيت، إني استهديتك فهديت، بالقرآن أنرت طريقي. يا الله يا الله.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdul Hasib Lopez. I'm originally born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. I'm 38 years old. I'm married. I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, alhamdulillah. My older brother, who's 8 years older than myself, through time in my life, he became like my idol.
دخلت السجن وعمرك 15 سنة، وهذا السن سن صغير على دخول السجن. إيش اللي عملته عشان تدخل السجن وأنت في هذا العمر؟
As a kid, being the follower of my brother, who was just a very bad person, and in his early 20s and moving forward, he became like a #1 drug trafficker in America. Something had happened towards my brother in reference to his business, and his business was in the drug industry, the illegal drugs. And so I took advantage of that, an opportunity to prove to him that I can take care of business for him. So I planned for about 2-3 months, and I committed a crime. And the crime was I tried to murder somebody. From that, I ended up getting into trouble because I ended up getting arrested. But the person didn't die, so that's a good thing for me. The victim of the crime got stabbed 23 times and shot 1 time, and the person still survived. I ended up going to jail for an attempted murder, for an armed robbery, and a home invasion. My sentencing, it was a deal. I made a deal with the state of Illinois and said, look, so we agreed to 25 years. In Illinois, you do half of that. So I did 12 and a half years straight. Throughout my whole youth, and I was in the youth for about 2 years, 2 different places, almost the whole 2 years, many fights. So I became very hard. My heart became very hard, very cold, and I was 15 age, but I had to grow up, really quick. From the juvenile to the adult facility, I got transferred as soon as I turned 18. The first place I went to was Joliet, the big prison. It looks like an old castle. So imagine an 18-year-old going to this place. It looks dead, right? It's an ugly place with fences everywhere. While in prison, the journey of my life in reference to finding myself spiritually began. That was something that, because I knew it, and that's something that I had growing up, that's the first thing I linked to. So the first book that I would read was the Bible.
سبحان الله، شيء عجيب شيخ عبد الحسيب. يعني أنت كنت في السجن في هذه البيئة الصعبة بين تجار مخدرات، المجرمين، العصابات. هنا وجدت الإسلام ووجدت الهداية. كيف؟
I end up surrounding myself by people who always read. They were known as Moorish men or Moorish people, and so they followed a sect of a religion, of an aspect of Islam that was called Moorish Science Temple of America. After I read the book called the Holy Quran, but not the Islamic Quran in Arabic, in this time frame, there's a friend of mine. His father is Arab and his mother is white American. When he would see it's about Allah or about Islam, he would say, that's not Islam, that's not the real thing, that's something that's, it's fake. When he told me he was a Muslim and that the book he had was a Quran, I was surprised and I was amazed. So sometime after that, I had issues with my roommate. We didn't get along. I didn't want to be with him. He didn't want to be with me. So I wrote a request to the administration and said, move me. They said the room number, and I'm thinking, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's that Muslim. I remember the first day I went into the room, very clean. He had a Quran, the towel was wrapped, and he had it on top of the TV. The toilet, there's no seat cover, but he had it covered. The night we became roommates, he starts to tell me, so I'm a Muslim, I pray 5 times a day, I do ablution, wudu, and sometimes I get water everywhere, but I clean up and stuff, and so in the mornings I pray, and so if you're sleeping, I'm letting you know now, right? So I'm like, okay, not a problem, I pray too, I told him. I pray 3 times a day. I'm a Muslim, but I don't know what the Quran is. So he starts to tell me little by little, oh, I know what you're following, but that's not really true Islam. This is true Islam. Muslims pray 5 times a day.
أنت أخبرتني شيخ عبد الحسيب أن لما أهداك صديقك في السجن القرآن الحقيقي ماذا وجدت فيه؟
SubhanAllah, there are so many chapters in the Quran with so many verses that talks about the grandeur of God. But the one verse for me that topped all other verses was the verse where God himself tells the reader that today I have perfected your religion, right? And this is the thing that I have for you. And pretty much ending that particular verse with naming that religion. And the religion for you is Islam. So for me, no other book that I have ever read, and subhanAllah, I've read many books, ever asserts what we're supposed to be and what are we supposed to be called, and whatever it is that we follow, what is it called? And that verse answers those 3 questions easily.
اقرأه في قلب خشوع تلقى الصعد بين الضلوع ولسوف تنهمر الدموع وستزهر الدنيا ربيع
اقرأه في قلب خشوع تلقى الصعد بين الضلوع ولسوف تنهمر الدموع ستزهر الدنيا ربيع
إني ناديتك وسعيت إني استهديتك فهديت بالقرآن أنرت طريقي يا الله.
شيخ عبد الحسيب، نبي نعرف اللحظة المهمة في حياتك. أين نطقت الشهادة؟ وحدثنا عن هذا اليوم.
With the help of my roommates, somehow he conveyed to the Imam, this brother, he wants to be Muslim. In that time, I remember reading about it, the Shahadatan, you read about it. But when I said it, even though I didn't understand it, I knew that it was something big in my life. That feeling was the best feeling, subhanAllah. So I'm coming out of prison, alhamdulillah, as a Muslim. And the one thing that I was anticipating the most was, having a Muslim sister, right? And so I would have never imagined, let alone being Muslim, to find a woman that's Muslim. There was a sister who was a Muslim who knew me, and she told me, I have somebody for you. At that time, I had literally wrote out requirements, many of them, 11 different requirements. And I told myself when I was writing this out, not one woman on this planet is going to have all 11. And so I met her, we talked. I told her my intention, I'm looking for a wife and maybe you could be her. So, this is who I am. This is my past. This is what I want, and this is where I want to be. 12 days within that honeymoon period, I get arrested, right? And so in that arrest, I got released on bond the next day. And when I learned what I was arrested for and what the charges were, it just didn't make any sense to me, right? I didn't do it though. I was actually innocent of going back to jail of that actual case. There were 3 charges. They said not guilty, then they said guilty and guilty. I don't know why and I don't know how.
That day, it was very emotional. I was 5 months pregnant with my second child, and I had a 8-month-old baby too. When the jurors got together, I told his sister, let's leave the room because I don't want to see that part where they say he's guilty. So me and her left, and we were outside the courtroom. I was broken.
When I'm in this place, I'm hearing that, her screaming, you know, and so I'm looking down, and it's, you know, this whole environment of prison is made to make a person psychologically feel depressed and sad. I'm in the line, and they're telling us, okay, we're going to go to the hospital. We have to get checked. We have to get processed. There's 2 lines, and I'm on this line. There was another guy in the front. He turns around, and he looks at me and gives me a grin. And I look at him, I'm thinking, you know, I don't know him. I've never seen him before. But we go up, now he's behind me. As we're walking, he taps me on the shoulder, and he says, don't worry, Akhi. This is a test from Allah. I turn around, he doesn't look Muslim. We go into the room and we sit down, and he sits next to me. His name was Muntasar. 101 days for me to just sit there and say, you know, okay, you know. I was doing my prayer, but I was doing it because I knew that's something I had to do. My heart was not in the prayer. I'm looking at the Quran and I'm thinking, okay, you know, I want to pray, I have to pray, but I want to read Quran. And so I grabbed the Quran, and the one I had was English. They didn't allow no Arabic. And so as I'm just going through it, and I open it, you know, I'm reading it, but there was a verse in there that captured me. And the verse was basically that, you know, don't worry, you know, nothing's going to happen to you without Allah knowing about it. In other words, Allah knows everything that happens to you, and it's ordained. It's a test.
هل تأثرت علاقتك مع أولادك بعد دخولك السجن في هذه الفترة؟
I remember one time my wife brought the kids. Something happened where the officer did something and I had to go to him. So as I'm standing like this with him, my older daughter, she's running around, and I'm talking to this officer, and he's being rude, and he's telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're supposed to do this. And I'm like, you know, what do you expect? You know, what if you were in my shoes and this is your daughter, you know?
He didn't even have time to sit with us. He went there, he was telling them, you know, at least it's only 4 hours, let me get to hold my baby, you know, be like a normal dad. But they said no. So he sent us back. He said, just don't worry about coming here if this is how they are going to be. And, you know, we left.
My wife was the backbone. My wife was very strong. And she would ignore, you know, I told her, don't come with her, she'll come anyways, you know. And she'll always say, you know, sabr, you know, be patient, you know, it's a test. Not only for you, Abdul Hasib, it's a test for me. It's a test for everybody, you know. So, Allah knows best that He gave me the perfect wife to have the experience to have to go back.
أنت مريت بابتلاءات كثيرة، وهذا الابتلاء العظيم اللي أنت مريت فيه أريد أن أعرف وكلنا نعرف ماذا تعلمت من هذا البلاء.
SubhanAllah, you know, the reality that without Allah, we're nothing. At the end of the day, we're nothing. Okay? So Allah gives us responsibilities. He gives us our name. He gives us our career of what we're supposed to be in our life. I didn't have that in the beginning. And I think coming out after everything, I at least have that. As I said before, the one statement that I actually realized, and I'll never forget it, and I remind myself every day when I wake up, right before Salatul Fajr, you'll never know Allah is all you need until you realize Allah is all you have. Take everything away from you and be naked, and you still have Allah. And so I come out not just a better Muslim, but I understand my role in this dunya.
كل إنسان فينا ممكن يمر ببلاء، يمر باختبار، مثل أخونا عبد الحسيب الله سبحانه وتعالى ابتلاه بالسجن بوقت صعب. ممكن واحد فينا يبتلى بخسارة ابن، بفقد ابن، بخسارة مال، أيا كان هذا البلاء، ولكن الناجح الذكي اللي يصبر عند البلاء ويستفيد منه. الله سبحانه وتعالى يقول: ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. الله يجعلنا وإياكم من الصابرين.
في كتاب الله قلبي صار حي، وبحياتي صار لي ظل وفاي، ويوم عادت نفسي وروحي ليه عادت أيامي وأحلامي إلي.
كل ما أتلوه أو جيت أسمعه أنسى آلامي وأحزاني معاه. من عرفته صارت أيامي هنا، نور في الظلمة في الضيقة ساعة. كل ما أتلوه أو جيت أسمعه أنسى آلامي وأحزاني معاه. من عرفته صارت أيامي هنا، نور في الظلمة في الضيقة ساعة.
اشترك معنا في هذه القناة بإذن الله، راح توصل لك حلقاتنا أول بأول، وساهم معنا في نشر هذه القناة.